In this video, I'll be talking about CSS variables. Okay, so before start using any CSS feature, we should check the browser support first. Always go to caniuse.com, and here you can see all the supported version. Right? Based on this, you can decide whether this supports your browser requirement for your project or not. So using variables, what all we can achieve? Let's look at it. First, what is variable? In other language, variable we use to store certain values, right? So here also similarly, we can store a value, CSS value, style values. We can call it style values. Let's say here we have a color properties, font size, padding, margin, all those things we can store. Not an attribute. So here you can only store a value. Here you can see the value, right? In not We cannot store the position value, position attribute here, but we can store the CSS value. So this CSS variable helps us to reduce a lot of duplicate code. When we are working on a bigger project, we might be using the same value again and again in multiple places, right? To avoid that, we use this CSS value. This helps a lot to improve the code quality, as well as this reduce a lot of errors, right? So instead of using, so let's say if you want to use a gray color border, somewhere we'll be using a different gray color, and somewhere we might be seeing a different gray color, right? So to avoid that, if we declare it in one place and if you use that particular variable, so this will be used everywhere. So this avoids a lot of errors as well. Okay, so let's go to the code. Now I have one empty HTML file as well as one CSS file. So let's start type something. We'll name it CSS variable. And in CSS I don't have anything. Let's just reset all the default margin and padding for all the coding. What we'll do, we'll just create a simple card layout. I'll just click go live, make sure it works fine. Class card, and then we'll have a header, content, and then footer area. Okay, you can use semantic tags, card header, we'll put h2, and then we can name that as well, card card title to those area. Just keep it. Let's close the header tag, and then now the content area, card content. Let's close, and then we'll have one paragraph tag. Let's take new text. Let's put something here. Now we can see this on the right side, and then we have footer as well. Card footer. Let's put some text here as well. H4. Okay. Okay, let's add some more style. Card, background, right now I'll give gray color, light gray, DD, and then first let's link the CSS file inside. link rel style sheet, which I equal to styles in CSS. Let's close it. Close. Why it's not reflecting? Let's see. Okay, here there is a spelling mistake. Okay, now it is applying properly. Okay, then let's add some margin as well. So now we can see the card layout. Let's add some style for the inner content as well. Okay, card. Since it is a CSS file, we need to add it down. For this, let's add something margin bottom 0.5 IRM, as well as for the content. Okay, so now let's add some border for this. Let's add some padding as well. Similarly for the footer. This has to top. Okay, now we have the card layout. We'll reduce it to 3. Okay, now we have this card layout, right? Okay, now we'll add some padding for this content as well. Now we have the card layout. So if you want to make a different color for this, I just need to change it here, right? Red. So if you want to change the color for this entire thing, okay, so now I can see clearly. So if I change one place, everywhere it is changing, because we no need to give any specific place to change the color, right? So now if at all, if you want, so now if you want to modify something here, now we can see a lot of code repetition, right? So using CSS variable, let's see how we are going to optimize this code first. So now we can clearly see this is repeated and this is repeated in twice, and this value also repeated multiple times. So if we declare it in one place, and then we can reuse everywhere. So that is the idea of using this CSS variable, right? So that will avoid a lot of code duplicates. Okay, let's just move this into a variable. We have to put a double we have to put double hyphen and then the name of the variable. So we can give any name. So right now I'm giving border base. So this will have everything. Double slash wherever we have this, we just need to give. Now we can see there is no different. I'll just mark it here. Okay, now we can see clearly there is no different. It is working as expected. and then we'll add some more variable for this as well, right? Okay, so yes sir, space small medium, you can define it so it can be used in a different place as well, right? So for small I am giving, for medium I'll just give 0.5 rem. So in this case we can just mock it, padding top, okay, so this also works well, right? Similarly if we have this lg, and then this also works well. Let's replace the color as well. Okay, so now I have replaced everything with a CSS variable, right? So if I change one place, so it is going to reflect everywhere wherever I have used this, right? Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this card layout again. So now if I want to make this as a red, blue, green, then what we need to do? So if I change red, everywhere it is going to affect red, right? So if I want to make this green and then this one is a blue, red, green, blue, then what we can do, so we have one more layout, we have one more option also. So this applies for entire root. So this is kind of global variable declaration, and then if you want to make it for any specific layout, we can make that as well, consider like a local variable. Let's say you can add some more extra attribute to make that local. Okay, so now we can add a class here. Let's say here we can see blue, card blue, and then green, right? So now we have a option, now we have an extra attribute, now we have extra class name which can be used to differentiate this, right? So now using this I can declare, redeclare this variable. Just take this one and then make it green, and then just apply the change that you want. Now you can see clearly, if I just go to debugger, card green. So now we have the root layout as well, right? So if I remove this, it is reflecting everywhere, here and not here. So this way, this property got overwritten by this values. So this means, this is taking the, so this is going to look for the base variable. So this is called the local variable, right? And this is called the global variable. So it always look for the immediate one and then it goes to the parent one. So now we have two different things. And then blue. Then now this feature adds a lot many things, right? So if you want to make color white for everything, I just need to move it to root and then I can just remove it from these two elements. So the color white will be applied for all other card as well. If you want to make only this different color, I just need to change 0 0 0. It reflects here, right? So if you want to make it here a different color, something low, this apply as well, right? So and then we have one more feature for fallback option. When there is no variable, when we work in a bigger project, we may not know whether the variable is declared or not. So in that case, we can always give a fallback option. So if this variable is not exist, if this variable doesn't exist, then apply this color. Example like 0, right? So let's say I'm going to remove this color. So by default, it is going to look for this variable in anywhere in the root, in the global variable or the local variable if it is available. So if there is no local variable, then it is going to look for the global variable. If it is not available there, and then it is going to apply this. This also one of the important features that you should know. Let's say if you want to make it a 0 instead of 0.5, without modifying this value, if I want to modify divided by 2 or 0.25 REM, we can use using call method as well, right? There is one more property called calc CLC, calculate method. Okay, let's say here if I want to increase or reduce from this value, padding top wherever we go. Okay, here let's see here, call C and then into 2. Here you can see the margin space between. You can increase this as well, right? And then we can divide it by 2 also, right? So if you want to reduce the space between these two, okay, let's say I have one REM instead of 1 REM. If I want 0.5, I can just make it divided by 2 as well. And then we have one more option. Through JavaScript also we can change it, change the variable, and then dynamically we can change this CSS property. Here also we can see. So this can be applied inside the as well. Okay. So this also one of the way we can do it. So using JavaScript, we can modify this dynamically. Let's include this one as well. Let's say, okay. So if I increase, let's say if I'm going to increase this top, let's say if I'm increasing this top value, it's going to move, right? So similarly, if I do it from the JavaScript file, it will be very easy. This can be done through JavaScript side as well, right? So let's say if I'm giving this, by default, I give this value. Okay. So by default is 0. So when I do something, click or mouse over, if you want to move this a little bit down or a little bit down from this level, what I can do is I'll just comment out